What are fossils and how are they formed? What is a fossil? A fossil is the remains or traces of plants, animals, or other living things that lived a very long time ago. Fossils can be bones, teeth,
They
shells,
are like
or
nature's
even
time
footprints that have
capsules,
turned into
preserving
rock,
clues
about what life was like in the past. What is a fossil? Example. Imagine you find a big dinosaur bone in the ground. That dinosaur bone is a fossil. It is not just a bone anymore. Over millions of years, it has turned into something hard and solid, like rock. How do fossils form? Fossils are made when living things, plants or animals, die, and over time, their remains get buried by layers of dirt, sand, or mud. Then, these remains slowly turn into stone or rock. This process takes a very long time, millions of years. Let's break this down into simple steps. How do fossils form? Step 1. A plant or animal dies. When a plant or animal dies, it doesn't just disappear. Its body usually falls to the ground or into water, where it begins to break down. How do fossils form? Example. Let's say a fish dies and sinks to the bottom of the ocean. Over time, it will start to decompose, break down into smaller pieces. How do fossils form? Step 2. It gets covered by dirt, mud, or sand. After a plant or animal dies, dirt, mud, or sand from rivers, oceans, or storms begins to cover the body. This keeps the remains from being eaten by other animals or getting destroyed by weather. The covering protects the body and keeps it in one place. How do fossils form? Example. Imagine a dead fish in a river. Over time, mud from the river might cover the fish's body. How do fossils form? Step 3. Pressure and time. After the plant or animal is buried by dirt and sand, more and more layers of soil build up over time. These layers press down on the remains and slowly begin to turn them into a fossil. The pressure of all the layers of soil, mud, or sand makes the remains harder and harder, turning them into rock. How do fossils form? Example. If you bury a small piece of wood under dirt for many years, the pressure from all the dirt might turn it into something hard like a stone. It's the same idea for fossils. If you bury a small piece of wood under dirt for many years, the pressure from all the dirt might turn it into something hard like a stone. It's the same idea for fossils. How do fossils form? Step 4. Minerals fill the space. As time passes, tiny minerals from the soil start to seep into the bones, teeth, or shells of the dead animal or plant. These minerals replace the original material and make the fossil even harder. Over millions of years, this process makes the remains turn into rock-like fossils. How do fossils form? Example. Imagine a shell from a sea creature being buried in the sand. Over many years, minerals from the sand fill the tiny holes in the shell, making it turn into a hard, rock-like object. How do fossils form? Step 5. The fossil is found. Finally, after millions of years, the layers of dirt and rock that are covering the fossil might be worn away by wind, rain, or erosion. This can cause the fossil to be exposed and found by people like scientists or even curious kids. Example. A paleontologist might find a dinosaur fossil after years of digging and studying. It could be a bone, a footprint, or even a nest of dinosaur eggs. How do fossils form? Example. A paleontologist might find a dinosaur fossil after years of digging and studying. It could be a bone, a footprint, or even a nest of dinosaur eggs. Types of fossils. 1. Body fossils. Body fossils are the remains of actual parts of an animal or plant, like bones, teeth, shells, and leaves. Example. A dinosaur bone is a body fossil. It's the actual part of the dinosaur that turned into a rock. Types of fossils. Trace fossils. Trace fossils are not the actual remains of a plant or animal, but they are evidence that the animal or plant was once there. These fossils include things like footprints, burrows, and nests. Example: if a dinosaur walked across the mud and left footprints behind, those footprints would be trace fossils. They show us where the dinosaur was, but we don't get to see the dinosaur itself. Example: a dinosaur bone is a body fossil. It's the actual part of the dinosaur that turned into a rock. Types of fossils. Cast fossils. Cast fossils form when a mold is created by the body of an animal or plant, and then the mold is filled with minerals. The result is a copy, or cast, of the original plant or animal. Example: if a fish dies and its body gets covered by mud, the mud may form a mold around the fish's body. Later, minerals fill the mold and create a cast, which is a rock-like copy of the fish. Example: a dinosaur bone is a body fossil. It's the actual part of the dinosaur that turned into a rock. Types of fossils. Amber fossils. Sometimes small animals, like insects, can get trapped in tree sap. Over time, the sap hardens into amber, preserving the animal inside. This can give us a perfect look at an insect that lived millions of years ago. Example: a dinosaur bone is a body fossil. It's the actual part of the dinosaur that turned into a rock. Types of fossils. Example: imagine a mosquito getting stuck in tree sap. Over millions of years, the sap hardens and becomes amber, perfectly preserving the mosquito inside. Why are fossils important? They can find out about what animals and plants looked like, how animals lived, did they live in groups or alone, what the weather was like, was it hot or cold back then, how animals and plants have changed over time, evolution. Where can you find fossils? Deserts, mountains, caves, rivers and oceans. Conclusion. Now you know what fossils are and how they are formed. Fossils are like ancient treasures that give us a glimpse into the past. From bones and teeth to footprints and even insects trapped in amber, fossils teach us about life on Earth millions of years ago.